Hi there, good evening, and welcome to iQUANTA's YouTube channel. In case you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. And once you subscribe, then I would really appreciate that you also go ahead and press the bell icon so that you start getting the notifications as well. Right? So there we are. If you have any questions for me, please make sure that you do send them my way right away, straight away. And then after those questions, we can move over to our topics. So for those of you who are tuning in today and have not been here earlier, I would like to emphasize that, hey, this is day 5 of our grammar review for OMATs, and this series has an exclusive purpose. In case you're wondering whether you need to attend this or not, you just ask yourself 2 questions. Question number 1 is, are you writing any of these non-CAT exams that you see on the screen? If your answer is a yes, then ask yourself this next question: do you want to revise grammar? If you answer a yes to both of these questions, then this series is for you. This is the 5th session in the series. There are 4 that have already happened. You can go ahead and watch them at this very channel earlier as well. And today we plan to talk about conjunctions and subject-verb agreement. So shall we go ahead and start? Shall we launch into it? क्लास स्टार्टेड. हाँ यार, क्लास शुरू हो गई. वो शुरू में ना थोड़ा एक्चुअली इसी चैनल पे ना वो मल्टीपल सेशंस आज प्लान्ड थे. तो पिछला सेशन बस पूरे टाइम पे शुरू हुआ, फिर उन्होंने स्ट्रीम स्टॉप की, फिर जाकर के मेरी स्ट्रीम कनेक्ट हुई, एंड दैट इज हाउ वी कुड गो अहेड एंड start taking this session. So conjunctions and subject verb agreement. Kanishk says, sir, do we need GDPI prep for the tier 2, tier 3 colleges also? Kanishk, always. Kanishk, let me tell you something. I come from a very small town, okay? And frankly speaking, back in the day, when the kind of schools, colleges I went to, they never prepared us for interviews. And the truth is, I have actually made some very silly mistakes in the interviews, all because I was not coached. I have said some outright stupid things. I can't even say, I can't even tell them to you here. They are so embarrassing. So I'm saying, no matter which college you are applying to, an interview is an interview. You are always supposed to put your best foot forward and prepare as hell. Work your backside off and prepare so that you do get selected. And the issue is, the lower a college is in those so-called ratings, the higher the number of people they end up calling for every seat that they have. So an elite college, a premier college may call only 3 students for every seat, but a not so premier college may at times end up calling 10 students, 12 students for every seat that they have. So in that sense, the competition level there does become intense, and if you are prepared, you'd increase your probability of making it through. So absolutely yes, please do prepare. And if you need any input, do let me know, and I can start, maybe we can start connecting about GD interviews as well. Okay, so starting with conjunctions. Starting with conjunctions. So what are conjunctions? अभी ये क्या हो रहा है? मैं चैट अच्छे से पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं और मेरा वीडियो बारी बारी पॉज हुए जा रहा है. हाँ. So what exactly are conjunctions? So conjunctions are words that join things together. So which things do they join together? Why is there a lag, yaar? What's happening? What's wrong? लैग तो आ रहा है दोस्त, मगर लैग क्यों आ रहा है? Why is there a lag? Because the stream health is absolutely fine. क्या चक्कर है यार ये? What's happening? किसी ने सेशन एंड कर दिया क्या? Just give me a second, guys. I think somebody else has logged in from some other place. Guys, just give me a second. I think we have basically started streaming from two different sources. मैं नहीं देख पा रहा हूँ अपना सेशन, so मुझे पता नहीं चल रहा है कि आप लोगों तक वीडियो जा रहा है या नहीं जा पा रहा है. So I'm just checking with somebody at our other studio. आ रहा है वीडियो? अच्छा यार देखो, अब मुझे तो पता चल नहीं रहा है कि वीडियो आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. मैं मान के चल रहा हूं कि वीडियो आ रहा है. एक बार जल्दी से कंफर्म कर दो इफ यू आर एबल टू सी मी एंड हियर मी, बिकॉज तुम्हारा पता नहीं, मैं नहीं देख पा रहा हूं अपने आप को फिलहाल. ओके, अब दिख रहा है मुझे. All right, so let's now then move back to conjunctions now. So conjunctions are words that join. Join what? These are words that go on to join some words, some phrases, some clauses, some sentences. So in सबको हम बोलते हैं conjunctions, but then there are times when people mistakenly believe that conjunctions just join and they perform no other task. People think that conjunctions are a bit like feviquick, but ऐसा है नहीं. Why? Because they perform one more function. Different conjunctions show different kinds of relationships. Okay, so and is a conjunction, but it is different from something like, say, a but. So you notice one would join two similar ideas together, another one will join two contradictory ideas together. So when it comes to conjunctions, we also need to know the kind of relationships that they go ahead and define. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. So here are the directions for the first 5 questions. The first 5 are exclusively based on conjunctions. These are basic questions that will help you revise conjunctions quickly. तो ये रहा आपका पहला सवाल. Go ahead and give it a shot. हाँ, कनिष्क कंफर्म भी कर रहा है, सर आपने ब्लैक शर्ट पहना है. हाँ, पहना तो है भाई. सो तो बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं आप. सॉरी यार, वो टाइमर रुक गया बीच में. आई जस्ट फिक्सिंग अ कपल ऑफ थिंग्स, बट आई एम श्योर यू गाइज विल गो अहेड एंड गिव मी द आंसर्स नॉनदलेस. So we are getting C, we are getting D. Nobody has picked up E. All right. मैं इसको थोड़ा मुश्किल बना सकता था, बनाया नहीं मैंने. छोड़ दिया मुश्किल बनाना, क्योंकि मुझे लगा रिवाइज करवा देता हूं. एक और ऑप्शन दूं? चलो ये लो. अब कोई अलग चीज बताना चाहोगे? सो आई ऑल्सो एडेड एफ. पेपर वाले तो नहीं देते, मैं तो दे ही दूं तुम्हें और ऑप्शंस. Okay, so conjunctions जो है ना, conjunctions are of three types, right? So you have coordinate conjunctions, you have subordinate conjunctions, and you have something called a correlative conjunctions. Okay, so coordinating conjunctions join two things that are of equal importance, and these are the coordinating ones. So there are 7 conjunctions that are called coordinating. You can remember them by using this acronym fanboys. Correlative conjunctions are the ones that come in pairs. Remember, either or, neither nor, not only but also, those kind of things. Okay. And the remaining conjunctions, if a conjunction is neither coordinate nor correlative, then it has to be subordinate. Okay, and advanced level stuff, there are quite a few books who would say that correlative conjunctions are nothing but a special type or a special category of coordinate conjunctions, and they are okay. I just differentiate between among the three in order to keep things cleaner for the purpose of exam. Now, the deal with correlative conjunctions is that they come in pairs, and every pair is a formula. We cannot change that formula, we cannot tinker with that formula. So we have a correlative conjunction called no sooner than, and we have a coordinating conjunction that says scarcely or hardly, and these are followed by when. So the key here is, in this particular sentence, the other half of the correlative conjunction is given to you. The other half is when. And because you have a when there, you cannot use no sooner. No sooner requires then, and therefore you don't have much of a choice. You must use hardly as your answer. So that is why C. हाँ, फैनबॉयज का फुल फॉर्म मैं बता देता हूं जल्दी जल्दी. फॉर, एंड, नॉर, बट, और, येट, सो. ओके, अब वो थोड़ा जल्दी बताया, बाद में रिव्यू कर लेना. हाँ, 0.75x पे. एंड हियर इज योर सेकेंड क्वेश्चन. व्हाट्स योर टेक? यार जयंत, व्हेन इट कम्स टू जैट लेक्चर्स, यार जैट के बैच में मुझे मेरा शेड्यूल पता होता है, ओवरऑल शेड्यूल नहीं पता होगा. यू कैन रीच आउट टू सन्नी एंड सॉरी, यू कैन रीच आउट टू दीपांशु एंड ही कैन हेल्प यू. Ayush, this is a question that we discussed in our session yesterday, so you can go ahead and review it from there, or you can Google it. So for question number 2, the correct answer is, as a lot of you are pointing out, option B. Absolutely correct. When you say none of the above, तो भाई नहीं, कुछ तो चाहिए यहाँ पे, और until चलेगा. Until he retired in 98. Got it? So until it is. Okay, with that, let me take you over to your next question. Here it is on the screen. The clock is ticking. So make sure that you choose something that makes the sentence grammatically correct and meaningful. Kanishk, until and till are the exact same thing. The only difference is until is formal and till is not formal. Okay. So when you say until and till, they are the exact same word. The only difference, as I said, is formal, informal. Okay, so for question number 3, our answer must be option B. So absolutely correct. If you have any question, do let me know. Somebody has also chosen A. Now see, Indeed is not a conjunction, indeed is an adverb. Indeed basically means really or certainly. We often use it to emphasize something. So indeed won't really work here. Okay, and if you do want indeed, mind you, there are two clauses. Athletes are a mirror of society. Sometimes their images are blown out of proportion, and you notice that in between there is a comma. You need to have a conjunction. If you do not use a conjunction, that comma also needs to be then replaced with a full stop. So if you want to justify that comma, you have to introduce a conjunction. And in fact, all the other words, indeed, instead, likewise, all the three are adverbs. None of them is a conjunction. And therefore, A, C, and D can be ruled out at that juncture itself. Okay. Chaliye. So taking you over to the next question. Here is question number 4. Go ahead and tell me what your answer must be. Sarthak, I think I gave a very adequate response to the previous question. I cited the reason why A, C, and D should be ruled out. It is just that the session runs at a lag of around 17 seconds. So what I say here right now will reach you 17 seconds from now. And then if you type, then by then I may have explained it. And the question, I'm assuming the question must have come in the interim, because after the explanation, that question would automatically be taken care of. Dhruv, एक बार यार वेबसाइट पे जाकर के चेक कर ले. There are a lot of things that go into it, but yes, I mean at 82.7, I'd say that let's focus on the exams that are coming ahead. And but then you may be somebody whose unique circumstances require you to start to maybe join whatever. Okay, Mr. O'Connor stressed the need for more effective policing. Now, if you put as long as, does it make sense? So what exactly is happening in this particular sentence? What is it that we're trying to convey? We are basically saying that, hey, we're choosing one option over the other. More effective policing, more police personnel. So you either want both of them together or you want one over the other. There is no option that allows you to pick both of them together. You don't have a conjunction like and. Okay, then furthermore is an adverb. It will require a full stop, so you can rule it out. In fact is an adverb, you can rule it out. As long as you need to have a subject thereafter, then as long as there are more police personnel, whatever, but the sentence will remain incomplete if you put just as long as. But rather than gives you that choice. So there is a person who says, yeah, we want more effective policing rather than more police personnel. So we don't want more boots on the ground. We want those boots to do the existing number of boots to do effective policing. And that is why D is the only one that gives you a grammatically correct sentence. Question number 5. ये किसी ने ना बीच में सब्जेक्ट वर्ब अग्रीमेंट का सवाल पूछा था. कैरव, थोड़ी देर में बता देता हूं यार. Kairav, what you've written is absolutely right. So in neither nor you are not supposed to use singular verb. In neither nor you are supposed to use the verb which is a verb that is consistent with the noun that is closer to it. Absolutely correct. That's the rule. You don't use singular. You make it agree with the noun that is close. Okay, question number 5. Let's see what people have picked up. A you guys have chosen and A it is. So I mean the first 5 questions give me a lot of confidence. It tells me that you guys are good when it comes to English and you are getting things right. But before I take you any further, let's take a brief detour and let's talk about subject verb agreement as well. And then the rest of the questions can test your understanding of conjunctions as well as subject verb agreement. Okay. So what is subject verb agreement? It is a very simple and a very foundational rule used in English. And this is what subject verb agreement. So what exactly is it? Well, this is what it is. So this rule says a verb must agree with its subject in terms of number. That's how a grammar textbook will say this. Okay. What it basically means is that in a sentence or in a clause, if your subject is singular, you need to ensure that the verb must also that the verb must that the verb is also singular, and if your subject is plural, the verb must also be plural. That's it. Now, in order to become really good at subject verb agreement, you need to have knowledge of three areas. You need to be good at nouns, you need to be good at pronouns, and you need to be good at conjunctions. Why? Well, nouns can act as subjects, so you need to have that ability to look at a noun and figure out whether it is singular or plural. Pronouns can also act as subjects, so you need to look at a pronoun and figure out whether it is singular or plural. And then there are times when your subject joins more than one noun or pronoun together with the help of conjunctions. So there are some conjunctions that make the subject plural, there are some that do not, so you need to be aware of those things as well. So a combination of these three things, the knowledge of these three things thoroughly allows you to become correct at subject verb agreement every single time. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into questions. Here are the directions for questions 6 to 16. Please read the directions and then I'll take you through the questions. हाँ, सो नाउन्स प्रोनाउंस वाले क्लास में मैंने आपको कवर करवाया है पहले सेशन में, ये सब्जेक्ट वर्ब अग्रीमेंट वाले एस्पेक्ट्स कुछ हद तक. ओके, सो देयर इज दैट. चलिए, सो नाउ दैट यू हैव रेड द डायरेक्शंस, आज थोड़ा एनमैट, जैट, महाराष्ट्र सीईटी वाले पैटर्न पे चल रहे हैं हम लोग, जहां 5 ऑप्शंस दिए जा रहे हैं आपको. सो हियर इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 6 and the clock is ticking. अरे अंकित, लायनल, यार सॉरी, मैं ना पढ़ाते पढ़ाते कई बार मैसेजेस पे ध्यान नहीं दिया, मिस हो गया. हाँ, चेक कर लेना, डाल के देख लो, फिल इन द ब्लैंक की तो है, डाल के देखो मीनिंग आ भी रहा है क्या, आएगा ही नहीं, चेक करके देखना. ओके, डाल के देखो फिर देखते हैं. सो व्हाट्स आवर आंसर टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 6? यार आगे क्वेश्चन का नंबर लिख दिया करो यार, आंसर देते टाइम तुम्हारी एक थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट मुझे बड़ी मदद करता है यार. Okay, so in this particular case, our answer is option B. So whenever you use although, okay, it's a very peculiar case actually. Whenever you use though, although, or even though with in a sentence, तो उसके साथ वैसे तो you don't even require another conjunction to show contradiction. हाँ, but then there are times when your sentence talks about a hypothetical situation. For example, here we are dealing with hypotheticals, or as we call it, a subjunctive situation. So in such situations, in case you do plan to use another conjunction here, then the other conjunction that you use is yet and not but. And that is why the correct answer must be option B. So although the decisions of the body had no binding force on the Jews, yet in some important particulars, its decrees. Decrees are basically decisions. So decrees is absolutely all right. It need not be a single decision. There can be multiple decisions as well. Okay. And that is why B. So here is question number 7. All right. So in this particular case, this entire part is your subject, and in this subject, there are two nouns: author, man. Both of these nouns are joined using either or. Now, in the case of either or, neither nor, not only but also, for that matter, even or. So in the case of these conjunctions, your verb agrees with the noun that is closest to it. That is closer to it. So in this particular case, here is the verb. What is the noun that is close to it? Man. Man is singular, therefore the verb must also be singular, and that is why our answer must be C, and that's something that you guys have absolutely knocked out of the park. Okay, so C it is. Rashid, Datar, what do you think? What's the problem with the D according to you? Either an author or a man interested in literature. So this part is subject. Is termed a literary persona. That's still fanciful writing. Okay, here is question number 8 and अच्छा मैंने इसमें ABCD नहीं डाला, एक मिनट दो, मैं ज़रा ABCD डाल करके आ रहा हूँ, नहीं तो फिर कंफ्यूजन होनी शुरू हो जाएगी कि ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. Just go ahead and fix it once. It'll take me barely 5 seconds. देयर यू गो. ये हमारा क्वेश्चन फिक्स हो गया है, ये आपकी स्क्रीन पे आ गया है और अब द क्लॉक इज टिकिंग. ना 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 ना, डी में एज नहीं चाहिए, इज एब्सोल्युटली ओके. ही इज कंसिडर्ड अ पर्सोना नॉन ग्रेटा. बिल्कुल ठीक है, ऐसे यूज करते हैं. All right. So, in this particular case, the correct answer is option C. Why? We need to remove this not. Why? Lest already has a not in it. देखो, lest का मतलब होता है कहीं ऐसा ना हो के. Lest basically talks about the fact that, hey, let us hope that something untoward does not happen. For example, if I say, यार ध्यान से चलो, कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि तुम गिर जाओ. So I'll say walk carefully lest you fall. And this should after lest is optional. You want to use it, use it. You don't want to use it, don't use it. Both the sentences are going to be correct. So lest is a negative conjunction. Lest already happens to have a not. So if you see a not in the clause coming after lest, make sure that you mark that not as your error. Question number 9. All right. So we talked about correlative conjunctions and the fact that they come in pairs. Now, when you use whether, it is used to offer a choice. And for that choice, we don't use and, we use or. Whether they shall be referred for trial to the lower courts or the higher courts. And that is why the correct answer must be D. This was a sentence that ended up using the wrong correlative conjunction. Okay, so whether or should pair these two clauses here. Okay, next question. Question number 10 on your screen, and the clock is ticking now. Okay, so what's your take on question number 10? What have you gone on to choose? So the answer here should be B, and the reason is, once again, look at unless. Do you realize that if you combine if with not, then you get unless. So unless already has a not in it, and therefore this not needs to be removed. So there are two ways of fixing it. You can either replace unless with if carbon emissions are not cut, or if you want to retain unless, then you need to remove not. So in either case, your error will be in part B, and that is why that should be our answer. The rest of it is absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, so here is your question number 11. The clock is ticking. अरे आज 21 सेकंड का लैग चल रहा है, मतलब डिले चल रहा है यूट्यूब के स्ट्रीमिंग में, सरप्राइजिंगली. Lionel Abhi, can and could both can be used as model auxiliary verbs to talk about different degrees of probabilities. So could is not always the past form of can. Could can also be used as a model auxiliary verb that talks about the degree of possibility. Here, let me give you an example. Okay, you've heard of these public service announcements. हाँ, होता है ना, ट्रेन में बस में जाओ तो बोलते हैं अपने आसपास ध्यान रखो कहीं कोई लावारिस वस्तु ना हो. क्यों? क्योंकि है ना, लावारिस वस्तु बम हो सकती है. इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं तो क्या बोलते हैं? एन अनअटेंडेड ऑब्जेक्ट कुड बी अ बॉम्ब. अब वो पास्ट थोड़े ना है. When they say an unattended object could be a bomb, it's not a past. They're saying that there is a possibility of that unattended object being a bomb, although the possibility is rather remote, rather low. So through that angle, you can justify could. Okay. All right. So neither of the two students nominated for the National Spelling Bee were able to win the competition. The error is in part C. It should be was. Why? Now, we talked about this in our class on pronouns. But then let me repeat it. So you notice there are times when you use neither. And then there are times when you use neither nor. Both of these cases are different. So when you use neither nor, it is called a correlative conjunction. And in the case of neither nor, your verb will agree with the noun that is closer. Okay. When you use neither without nor, then it is called a distributive pronoun. And as a distributive pronoun, it is always singular. So in this particular subject, in this particular sentence, the subject is neither, and neither is always singular, and therefore you cannot use the plural verb with it, and that is why the answer must be option C. Okay. Ayush, actually, I won't say there are too many exceptions. I mean, there are only a few exceptions, but then the problem is that there are three areas. Remember, noun, pronoun, conjunction, so many different areas that you need to keep an eye on. At the same time, you also need to identify the subject. The truth is, I know some 20-30% of the people actually struggle to even identify the subject. Then that is why when I teach subject verb agreement in my classes, तो class में तो basics से शुरू कर रहे होते हैं ना, अपन detail में पढ़ते हैं. So I actually go ahead and talk about identifying the subject as well. We start from there. Okay. So should be gives. Why? The subject of the verb is experience. So you need a singular verb, right? Gives. So the answer is D. His experience as a teacher to boys and girls. Teacher for boys and girls is also okay, but teacher to boys and girls is not wrong. 2 is already right there, nothing wrong with it. Okay, so but then that give has to be gives. Okay, you know it in simple present tense, when the subject is singular, the verb must have an s or an es added to it. Right? So that's 12th. 13th. लड्डू सा सवाल दे रहा हूं बीच में मैं. Proceeds, plural, needs a plural verb, are, therefore C. The proceeds of the magic show are to be given to the fund for soldiers' welfare. It is a single fund. So they are going to give it to one fund. So fund is all right. But this proceeds and are, that has to be fixed for sure. Okay. So that is why the answer to question number 13 is option C. And here is the 14th question for you. एब्सोल्युटली यस प्रीत. क्लास के शुरू में, शुरुआत के 2 मिनट में ही बता दिया था कि ये वाले पेपर टारगेट कर रहे हो तो ये सेशन काम का है. अरे फैंटास्टिक. This warms my heart. Absolutely amazing. You have knocked it out of the park. The answer must be A, and the reason is when we say my uncle and guardian, it's really lovely to see that you guys have spotted it. It's just one person, okay, and that is why instead of have, it should be has. How do we know it is one person? Had it been two persons, the determiner will be repeated then. So because the determiner, because so articles, determiners, etc. get repeated because they're not getting repeated. Singular. If you want to know more, we covered this in our class on pronouns, very first lecture. Go ahead and watch it once again. 15th. Absolutely, yes. See, live, really happy to see that everybody has gotten this right. Top class. Okay, 16th. अरे 15-16 सवाल सेम हो गया भाई. माय बैड. तो चलो अगले सेट पे चल लेते हैं अपन. अपना क्या जा रहा है. चलो. Here is the next set of 5 questions. So I'll give you a sentence. Now I will take out some segments from that sentence. One of those segments may have an error, in which case you choose or indicate or mark that segment as your error. Okay. So that'll do. So here you go. Question number 17. Tick tick. Okay, so a number of points of resemblance between the Australian and Dravidian language are discovered. Okay, here is a quick word. Whenever your sentence starts with a number of, make sure that you use a plural verb. And whenever your sentence starts with the number of, make sure that you use a singular verb. रीजन मत पूछना यार अभी, गूगल कर करके देख लेना, बट ध्यान रख लेना, जुगाड़ बता रहा हूं. अ नंबर ऑफ के बाद प्लूरल वर्ब आएगी, द नंबर ऑफ के बाद जो कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग वर्ब होगी वो हमेशा सिंगुलर होगी. Avantika says difference between despite of and despite. Yes, the difference is despite of is incorrect. We do not use of after despite. We do use of after in spite. Okay, despite के साथ of use नहीं करते अपन. Okay. Here is the next question. राज से इसमें ज्योमेट्री से ज्यादा रूल्स है, ये तो पक्का. ग्रामर में तुम्हें दुनिया की किसी चीज से ज्यादा रूल्स मिलेंगे. Ayush, me is used in place of an object. The sentence that you have shared, in that sentence, that place is the place of a subject, and that is why it's wrong. Okay, now you notice Dream City, capital D, capital C. It is a proper noun and it is a city, so you know it is singular. When the subject is singular, the verb must also be singular. So instead of echo, it should be echoes. And that's why the answer is D. Harsh, नहीं, थोड़ा it's slightly different. The explanation is slightly different. Uh, slightly different explanation. Maybe some other day when we are covering concepts, I can go ahead and talk about it. In my class on subject-verb agreement, I do talk about it, of course. But अभी तो review है ना, review में कोशिश ये कर रहे हैं कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा high frequency errors complete करवा दें आपको. Okay, 19th. For a brief while, if you ignore this already, you notice there was 2500 animals. Sub adjectives, adverbs हटा दो. Whenever you start your sentence with here or there, then you're using an inverted structure. Here and there are never subjects. In these sentences, we use an inverted structure where you would have a verb and then you will have a subject. So you need to ensure that this verb agrees with the subject that comes after. Remember, once upon a time there was a king. Once upon a time there were two brothers. So here the subject actually is animals, which is plural. That is why this was should be where. And that's why you are absolutely correct in choosing A as your answer. 20th. रथियानियंस, वे ड्रामा कम कर. इतना ड्रामा नहीं करते. अबे आयुष, कहाँ कम ये कंपाउंड नाउन कहाँ से ले आए भाई साहब आप. हैं? चलिए, तो देवियों और सज्जनों, आप सबको बहुत बहुत बधाई, क्योंकि इस सवाल के माध्यम से आपने सीखी है एक ऐसी चीज जिससे कि एग्जाम में आप कर पाएंगे अपनी एक्यूरेसी को इम्प्रूव. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, because now you are about to learn something that will help you increase your accuracy in the exam. The correct answer to question number 20 is option D. So I'm giving you a couple of minutes, not a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds to get shocked, and then I'll talk. So your time to get shocked starts now. Okay, so India should be singular, but here, listen to me. When you talk about a club, city, state, country, huh? When I say club, basically name of a club, name of a city, a state, country, they are usually singular, but there is one exception to it. And the exception is when you talk about these in the domain of sports. If you are talking about these in the domain of sports, it is absolutely okay to treat them as plural. You can treat it as singular, that's correct. But even if you treat them as plurals in the domain of sports, it's not wrong. In fact, if you pay attention to the sports pages of your newspaper, you would see that your sports page actually prefers using plurals. So when they talk about football scores, your headline will have something like France beat Portugal. They'll not say beats. So here, when we are talking about India, we are talking about India in the context of sports. And in this context, it is absolutely okay to use a plural. In fact, that is going to be preferred. So if you use has, will that be incorrect? No, that won't be incorrect. But then have is not wrong here. Okay, so that is why no error. अब नैन्सी इसमें लॉजिक नहीं है कोई. इफ यू आस्क हाउ, ना ना यार लॉजिक मत पूछो मेरे से. मैं बता रहा हूं ऐसा होता है. पेपर में आए इंडिया हैव और या इंडिया आर और वो हो स्पोर्ट्स की बात, तो उसको एरर मत मार्क करके आना बस. तो जिस जिस बंदे ने, तुमने ये सेशन अटेंड किया, तुम्हारा ये सही होगा. वो सारे लोग जो ये सेशन अटेंड नहीं करके आ रहे हैं, वो सारे के सारे उसको गलत करके आएंगे. उनको मिलने वाला है माइनस और तुम्हें मिलने वाला है प्लस. सोच लो. The answer is not going to be A or D. You'll choose A if A is incorrect. You're supposed to choose grammatical errors. A is not grammatically incorrect. So why would you mark A? There is no error in it. So that's why D. Okay, next question. भाई एचडी जी कल, हाँ कल स्नैप दे रहे होंगे तुम में से बहुत सारे लोग हैं ना. Yes, Abia, only in the domain of sports and nowhere else. और कम से कम एक नई चीज तो सीखी तुमने, है ना. लाइक करना बनता है वीडियो को इसके लिए. Okay, so where are our answers to question number 21? Kairav has shared his answer. Anindita has, Manan has, Avantika has, Rishu has, Pranjal. Good, good, good. Even when you're not sure, do write it. Okay, it's good. So you guys are, a lot of you are right. Where instead of where, it should be was, and thus the answer is C. Now let me tell you the reason. Okay. So a little while ago, I told you that there are three types of conjunctions: coordinate, subordinate, correlative. So when it comes to correlative conjunctions, for some of them, either or, neither nor, not only but also, the verb agrees with the one that is closer. For or, the verb agrees with what is closer. But when it comes to subordinate conjunctions, okay, so here let me write it. So you have one noun. After that, you have a subordinate conjunction. And then you have a noun too. And then you have a verb. So in these situations, your verb will agree with noun 1. You will ignore noun 2. Okay. So for example, I'll say, Mohit as well as his neighbors. अब बताओ is के are against the new policy. So here, ab dekho, as well as is a subordinate conjunction. If your concern is, how would I know it is a subordinate conjunction? Very easy. If it is not coordinate or correlative, it has to be subordinate. And coordinate you already know, fanboys. Correlative you already know, they come in pairs. Right? So ऐसे में क्या करना है? Noun 1 से agree करना है. So noun 1 है Mohit, which is singular, तो is आएगा. Similarly, in this particular sentence that I gave to you in question number 21, along with is a subordinate conjunction, which means that this noun will have no bearing on the verb. You'd only look at the first noun, which happens to be singular, and that is why instead of were, we needed was. Okay, so I hope that helps. Will I be at Snap Center tomorrow? आयुष नहीं भाई, अपने सेंटर पे मिलूंगा मैं. बट कल जैसे ही पेपर हो एक बार बताना कैसा हुआ, क्या आया, किधर क्या करके आए, है ना, फिर बात करते हैं. So guys, that's what I had planned for you today, and I would leave you with this particular thought. No matter how you feel about grammar, trust me, you've got this. You may feel uncomfortable, but then so does your competition. So it is not that big a matter to worry. हाँ, तो चिल करो, और अगर कल पेपर देने जा रहे हो अपना बेस्ट दे करके आओ, आकर के मुझे बताओ कैसा हुआ. हाँ, and I will see you once again with some more sessions. Until then, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch, and all the very best for those of you who are writing the exams before my next session. So see you then. Take care.